Heyo, it's your friendly neighborhood Minecrafter NoCones, and in today's episode of Messy Redstone, I'm going to show you how to build one of these zombie poppers. If you didn't see this yet, please go check out my last episode of New Eriador. Me and WC Hamlet built a working graveyard, and we've got several of these things installed, and it turned out really cool. But for today's episode, I'm going to show you the inner workings of this thing, and if you're interested in building it yourself, you should be able to build one by the end of this episode. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do is build a water channel like this, and you need the last block of the water to stop on this obsidian block right here. You can make it in an L shape or a straight one, it doesn't really matter, but it needs to end up right here on this obsidian block, and that's because we're going to be using a slime block right here below it. You can go ahead and put some more obsidian around this, and you're going to want a piston directly below it, so let's get that in, facing upwards into the slime block, and put obsidian all the way around it because it's going to be popping up and down. The next thing we need to do is we're going to go ahead and set up the block that pushes up to ground level. And just to show you, ground level is going to be right here, so we can pretend that this is our dirt level right here. I'm going to build it out of glass just so you guys can see what's going on. The piston is going to be one down from here, so we can just come on down, and it's going to be facing upwards into that glass block. So when it's retracted, it's going to be pulling the glass block down, and by default it'll be extended, and it'll keep this flush, so this will be ground level like I mentioned before. It's going to need two pistons behind it, just like this. So those are going to be facing the other piston, and we can go ahead and start getting things wired up here. We want to put one repeater into this on 3 ticks, just like that, and then that is going to come down to here, and the other one is going to be going into this piston, and that's just going to be a redstone line. So those are connected together, and that's the vertical Jeb door already done. We want this to be on by default, so we're going to build it up back here and put a redstone torch. So it'll be like this by default, and then when it's disengaged, it'll pull them in, and then when it turns back on, it pushes it back up. So the next thing I'm going to do here is hook up the tripwire, which is going to set off everything, and that's going to be on either side of this. When using tripwires, make sure that you have a transparent block underneath the tripwire hook, otherwise it's not going to work properly. So let me grab one of those. And we want a tripwire hook on each side, and then we can go ahead and connect those together. And the last thing that we need to hook up is this piston down here. Just put some blocks coming out this way. It doesn't matter what configuration you do this in, but you need to have 5 repeaters on full delay, and I'm just going to have them going back and forth like this to keep it somewhat compact. You can probably do this with a comparator as well. I'm just not sure exactly what the timing is. So let's stair step up to the rest of this like that, and that's going to be coming out of the back of the tripwire there all the way down to these repeaters, and you see we have 5 of them on full delay. And last but not least, we just need to hook up the vertical Jeb door, and there's going to be 2 repeaters, one on full delay and one on default delay. And that's it. You can enclose everything here. You do need to make sure that this is only too high, because that's going to keep the zombies from bouncing up and down. The rest of it doesn't really need to be enclosed, but it may help prevent them from getting out. So let's just go ahead and close all this up, and you can use whatever blocks you want there. The last thing we need to do is test this out, so let's grab a zombie. And as he hits that tripwire hook, it's going to bounce him up onto ground level. If you want to see it one more time. So we basically just have two mechanisms on two different delays, one line going that way and one line going into the vertical jeb door thing. That's pretty much going to do it for this episode of Messy Redstone, guys. I hope you liked this. If you did, please leave me a comment, and I'd really appreciate some likes on this video. So until next time, that's going to be it for Messy Redstone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.